Today we're in the 2021 Audi A4 B9.5. So we previously reviewed the B9 pre-facelift version with the 45 TFSI. Today we have the 40 TFSI, which is a lower powered turbo 4, making 201 horsepower, 236 pound-feet of torque. Before we get out on the road, let's go check out the exterior and do a quick view of the back seats. So being a post-facelift Audi B9.5, this, of course, has a little bit different of a look to it. We still have 17-inch alloy rims. The other B9 A4 we reviewed had the S-Line package with the 45 TFSI, so you're not seeing as an aggressive styled A4 here, but I do like these LED headlights and LED taillights as well. It just has a nice overall look to it. So back here we do have a very sizable trunk. You can get lots of stuff in here, no problem. Very impressed with the trunk space, and those back seats fold down as well. Sitting behind myself, I'm a little more cramped than I expected. I have about 2 inches of headroom above me, maybe another 2 inches for legroom. We do have some ambient lighting down here. We have the ability to control the tri-zone climate control back here. And of course we have some vents, speakers on the door cards, and a sunroof that doesn't carry itself back here, but still provides some light to the cabin. So you might ask what's different with the A4 B9.5, and so that modern refresh came in 2021, bringing us wireless Apple CarPlay, which was a big point of contention for me in my 2018 Audi A4 B9 review, because on one hand, I like the convenience of wireless CarPlay, but I don't like having to have like the constant disconnect worry. So if the system works properly, I do prefer wireless Apple CarPlay. And so I can't speak on it in this car because I've only driven it for a few hours. I haven't had any sort of CarPlay issues, but I just wanted to note that. The B9.5 also brought hybrid integration into this Turbo 4. So of course I said before we have the 40 TFSI, which added 13 horsepower for the 2021 model year up to 2025. And that really didn't provide any sort of fuel economy advantage or really performance advantage. It was merely a move that Audi made due to the problems people were having with the start-stop feature being kind of rough. So they added that hybrid 12-volt system to smooth out the auto start-stop. So when you start the car, that hybrid system's merely there to kind of smooth that out. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this thing isn't too heavy, even with the hybrid system at just under 3,700 pounds. And of course, the B9.5 also went away with front-wheel drive. You can only get all-wheel drive in these A4s for 2021 up through 2025, where they discontinued it. The discontinuation of the A4 was pretty disappointing for a lot of people. Of course, they made the A4 into the A5, kind of blended them into one sedan going forward. And then their CEO did say in 2023 that if they brought back the A4 and A6, which both got taken away from us, that they'd be brought back as EVs. A lot can change in 2 years since he said that. And I mean, automakers these days just change their mind about everything with the current state of the market. So I wouldn't hold him to that, but I do expect that to be the case because, I mean, it just is what it is. Sedans don't sell as well as crossovers nowadays. Of course, EVs don't really sell all that well either without tax incentives, but that's just another whole different discussion. Anyways, this Audi A4 is listed on the First International Auto Group site for $19,500 and change. This car has 84,000 miles on it, almost 85,000 miles on it actually, and it's in immaculate shape. I mean, the only thing for wear and tear that I've noted here is a little bit of a scratch on the steering wheel, probably due to someone wearing rings, but I mean, that's so common nowadays. You can get this nice leather steering wheel rewrapped and that wouldn't be a problem going forward. As far as drive modes in this Audi A4, we have a few. We have Comfort, Auto, Dynamic, and Individual. I prefer to run this thing in Dynamic just because it gives that added throttle response with this 7-speed dual clutch. It's of course a DSG transmission. As far as this interior goes, it's really nice in here. We have these beige seats which match really well with this light brown wood that runs across the dashboard and of course the lower part of our infotainment system here. Just a lot of nice materials in these A4s. I've been very impressed with them the last few I've driven. Of course, the previous one also being a B9, and then I also drove a B8 on this channel, so check out those reviews if you're interested. But I think as far as a value proposition, especially pre-owned like we have here listed at First Auto, I think it's just a really good deal. I mean, you still get a car with tons of life in it for under $20,000 with wireless Apple CarPlay, heated seats, a sunroof, a 7-speed dual clutch, 201 horsepower, 236 pound-feet of torque, cruise control, a heated steering wheel, which I'll actually turn on right now. Just plenty of value in these A4s. So as far as power is concerned, I do think the 45 TFSI is the way to go. I just think that the 40, if you're doing any sort of sporty driving, it's just not enough power to move around this type of weight. It's not a heavy sedan by modern standards at just under 3,700 pounds, but with all-wheel drive system, you just kind of feel like you're always hooked up, but you just don't have enough power to go. The 7-speed dual clutch has no problem putting the power down too. I mean, the shifts are very quick. Even downshifting is not the quickest. Honestly, I feel like my Elantra N-Line was a little quicker for the manual downshifts, but the upshifts are butter smooth. You almost get no torque loss in between gears. So let's chat about the steering wheel for a minute. So on our left-hand side for buttons, we have the ability to change what's in the digital part of our gauge cluster, such as the speed, date and time, and then of course our average current fuel consumption. And then you have like a short-term memory one and a long-term memory. For long-term memory, over 1,300 hours and 65,000 miles. Average 29.4 miles per gallon. So pretty good, not quite the EPA rating of 35 highway and 25 city. I mean, I guess it kind of gets there. But with an average speed of 50 miles an hour, I'd expect it to be a little better. For lighting, we do have some ambient lighting in here down by our feet. It's really low though. You can't really see it in this daylight that we have here. You could see it in the back when I was back there, but it was a little darker back there too. We do also have fog lights. We have LEDs in the front and in the rear, so plenty of good lighting in this A4. These arrows for your digital screen will get you different menus, so keep that in mind too. And then as far as view, we have a minimum display and then the maximum, I guess, which is this. On the right hand side, we have the ability to hang up and take calls. We have a blank button here, which is quite insulting, Audi. We also have a voice commands button that basically no one I know uses. We have skip track and volume kind of on one button complex setup here. And then of course we have our heated steering wheel, which is working quite nicely. Cruise control is down here, so don't forget that it's there. We also have high quality paddle shifters on here. They're like almost like an aluminum, I would say. So now we're going to turn onto the worst road in Merrimack, New Hampshire. And if you don't know the rules, essentially we approach this road at 20 miles an hour to test the suspension of these cars, see if they're worth buying, especially if you're driving over harsh bumps in Boston. Alright, so about 20 miles an hour. Couldn't go too fast because the car in front of me slowed way down. But it handled the bumps quite nicely. I'd say that the A4 definitely handles things better than the A3s do, just due to that longer wheelbase. And this one doesn't have the sport suspension setup that the B9 A4 S-Line we drove with the 45 TFSI one. That one had a slightly lower sport suspension setup that was fixed, so you couldn't change it at all. But this one definitely rode over the bumps a lot better than that, from what I remember. The softer suspension setup will definitely be a lot less agile on back roads. As far as safety tech, we have quite a bit. We have the parking sensors, as I mentioned before. We also have blind spot monitoring, emergency braking, wireless CarPlay to keep your hands on the steering wheel and off your phone, and that is not necessarily considered a safety feature, but I consider it one because distracted driving is never good. I've also been impressed by the quality of the materials in here throughout. There's not really any sort of cheap materials anywhere in this car besides the top of this dashboard. And I actually said in my last video when I was referring to that 2022 Elantra I drove that it had a gradient material here instead of this pebbled look. And honestly, it just fits so much better. And this isn't as like hard of a plastic. It has like a softness to it, but it does look fairly cheap, especially comparing it to the rest of the materials such as the nice wood in here, the aluminum materials, some gloss black down here, and it does look nice clean, but I know that gets dirty pretty easily. We also have some leather on the shifter, leather on our steering wheel, of course these nice leather heated seats. So overall, I do think that these Audi A4s are a nice value. Brand new at $40,000, it's not my first choice in my buy just because I feel like you'd really be missing the 45 TFSI with this 40 TFSI. I just feel like it's a little underpowered for the money. But I do think at $19,500, it's going to make a nice daily driver for someone who's looking for a luxury sedan. With that being said, please watch my B9 pre-facelift video as well. That's the 45 TFSI S-Line car. And that one was definitely a bit more fun. It had some nice red brake calipers, a lot more power, and just kind of felt more like a performance sedan than this one. Thank you all again for watching, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.